are back. I don't remember where I left off on the pond. I think I was just pushing mud out or something, but I did get all the mud out of it, and most of it's up there along that edge. Some of it got buried with the clay over here, and then like this pond over here, which you probably can't see very well, is all, I just got the mud kind of piled up. That's either where they dug it out or they dredged it out before, so that's what that stuff's sitting on top of. So I'm gonna leave it there for now because it's a real pain to try to spread out thin and bury, which is what I did over there. And then they told me there was like an overflow pipe because there's a concrete deal, and supposedly there's a pipe somewhere over there that it drains in, but I couldn't find anything like where he told me it was supposed to be. So the only thing I could see was there's a whole bunch of rocks in there, so I don't know if that concrete deal that's supposedly like their overflow thing, someone engraved 1964 in the top of it. I don't know if that's when the pond was actually built, or if that's when they just put that concrete piece in there or what, but I don't know if they just put like a vein of rocks and supposedly like a French drain. I don't know, but then I'm gonna leave that for now. I also am not 100% sure that this pond's not gonna leak, because I got to looking. That's what I started digging in over there. It's just kind of more, there's a little bit of clay right in there, but over in that one spot was just more like mud and like sediment stuff, not really like, yeah, like good packing clay in there. So that's kind of how it is here. I mean, you can tell we're getting down to some clay, but because it only held water maybe up to this top edge I got right here, but I guess at one time it obviously had some up around the edge of here. So I'm kind of wondering, like I said, you get to here and it just seems like it'd be like water would just kind of wick through there a little bit. So I don't know, we may have issues with that down the road, and then yeah, not finding some sort of overflow pipe. But what I was going to do was just kind of start cutting this edge right here, and I'm just kind of throwing it up on the edge of this little peninsula, and I'm probably just going to take the dozer and just kind of slick it up, just make one giant bowl, just because we're getting down to a little bit better clay right here, and I think it'll look a little bit better. So yeah, here's another good spot. I can kind of take another bucket and I can show you, but it's just, and it may be more muck and sediment I'm sitting on. But yeah, that right there is not very good stuff to line a pond with. So yeah, it kind of makes me wonder if, like I said, it's all sediment I'm sitting on, or it's hard to say. It just doesn't seem like that's going to line up real well with the way it is. So kind of scratching some of that out, and then probably what I'm going to do is they want me to, we finally sat down and kind of had a little powwow on trying to get this thing kind of wrapped up. So I just gave them a price for what I thought it was going to cost to finish it up, and I've decided if I go over that, I'm just going to eat it, and that's fine, because I'm not going to walk away from a job or stop on it, because I want it to look a certain way. And I get it, we didn't really talk about money. It was one of those like, oh, I just gave them a day rate and they were just like, go. So I don't think they had any idea how much stuff was going to come out of here. So I mean, some of that could have been my fault, but either here nor there, I'm going to finish this thing up one way or the other. So, but I think what I would like to do is kind of cut that off and just make one nice bowl and reshape this side. And then all that over there is fairly decent clay. I think what I'm going to do is just throw it over here and then take the dozer, and we're just going to kind of line this thing with that clay. That's not the best way to fix them. It's more a band-aid if it does leak through there. But I'm going to do that just to get rid of that stuff for one, and hopefully line this and maybe seal it up. I've let them know, I've sent them pictures and all that there may be future issues on this edge right here. I mean, it may always hold, but it could always bleed through the backside of the dam and come out there. But like I said, with kind of reshaping it and then taking that stuff and putting 6-8 inches of clay over here, sealing it and tracking it down, it may work and it may not, but at least they know that going into it. So yeah, I kind of really think that this pond almost just needs completely rebuilt, because I have a feeling there's not even a core trench underneath this dam. I'm gonna guess it was old enough. It was one of those deals like a farmer just started pushing stuff out with a dozer. Like I said, there's no core trench or anything like that, so and there could be, but I just, with this edge right here, it kind of makes me feel like they basically just kind of pushed a hole out and just started letting water run in here. So I mean, I'm not the pond guru like Chris, but I have seen guys here in town that they take clay and just kind of smear on the bottom and line it out to seal it up, like if you don't want to use bentonite or anything like that. So like I said, maybe not 100%. It's not going to be 100% fix or like the correct way, but it's the cheaper, try to get it done way and see if it works. So, and then if it doesn't, at least they, you know, I've made it known ahead of time. I just brought that up just in case, you know, just if they wanted to know for some reason the pond gets up to about this height and then it will not fill up anymore, that may be part of the problem. So, and I had them look at it, like I said, it's in pictures and everything else, because I don't want people out here thinking like he just wants more money for doing all this. I'm just trying to build them the pond that they want and make it last. So yeah, I think this would be the easiest thing. It's going to be a little steep with the dozer, but at least I think it'll be easier to kind of rough this in with the excavator the way I'm going about it. And then, like I said, I'll just kind of push it, track it, reshape it with the dozer, and then we'll smear some clay out over the top of it. check what I've done so far today and yesterday. I've got like 86 loads moved, so that's pretty good topsoil right there. So I'm going to save it for last and probably put on some of this that I'm dumping. But yeah, this pile went from where I'm sitting just to the other side of my bucket, like in between those two sets of tracks, and it was like the same height. So yeah, I felt like I was never going to get anywhere yesterday, but looking at it today, I've put a pretty good dent in it. They're here. I got the power put in yesterday, and they're setting their meter base today. But yeah, basically just have what I'm sitting on, and like it's kind of running downhill, and then I got that little pile there. Which some of that one I'm probably just gonna take with the dozer and kind of shove the edge and around to that. That's what I'm calling like the second or like that smaller pond or whatever. But yeah, you can see all that over there is most of the mud and sediment that came out of here, and it really just kind of drops off. But there's another pile of what they previously dug out before, so I may kind of shake that up, or I think we're just gonna leave it be and kind of let it dry more and use that maybe for some of the yard and the actual finished topsoil, but that stuff's going to turn into really, really nice dirt. And then there's that pile to the right of the dozer. It's more dirt, clay, kind of mud mixed in with some junk. I'm actually going to probably load it up and haul it up here to my crappier pile next to the house, and then some of that stuff in front of the dozer will probably just get knocked down and dressed up on the back side of the dam right there. So yeah, I feel like maybe there is some light at the end of the tunnel now. So some of this pile right here, the homeowner had another guy that was going to take like 2/3 of it or something, so that's why I kind of kept piling everything up, because he wanted some topsoil and just a bunch of clay or whatever we had to fill some area in. And then for some reason, I guess yesterday I got the text message that the guy's no longer needing it or wanting it or backed out or something, so now they want to try to move this, which I think will be fine. I got plenty of room on the back side of the dam to kind of dump this junk in and grade it out and just level it out. And some of it I'm even going to move up kind of where I stopped right there on the backyard of the house and just get everything to have a nice uniform slope. So I mean, I got plenty of places to use it. I just kind of got to get it moved around, and then my goal is to get the majority of this stuff moved around with the truck and piled up. And then hopefully tomorrow and Saturday, just spend a couple days on the dozer just dressing this thing up. And then, yeah, they can look at it when they get home next week, and hopefully they'll be happy with it. But Starting to get a little darker, but thought while I'm fueling everything up, I'd kind of do my end of the day. I hadn't filmed anything for a day or two because all I've done is load the Hydrema and move dirt. So I've moved 325 loads in the last 4 days with it. So, and then as you can tell, I got on the dozer and started doing a little grading and cleaning up. I cut some of this stuff on this part of the bank, and I need to add a little bit more and kind of dress some of this up. The Hydrema started getting a little warm this afternoon. It was 105 and hardly any breeze, and then the AC in the 2150 was having a hard time keeping up. So I kind of quit hauling any more of the mud, and I kind of used the excavator somewhat to knock the rest of it down and kind of dress it up. Some of it's going to have to get graded out, but I'll probably, maybe throughout next week, as it's supposed to be over 100 degrees every day again, is just try to track this or see what I can do a little bit. Because if I kind of keep rolling it over, I mean, you can tell the top of it's drying out some, but it's getting better. So I think if I just keep messing with it throughout the week, and then maybe middle or end of next week, I may be able to kind of fine tune it. But kind of where I'm standing, and part of it maybe down through there is going to be kind of where I guess the emergency spillway or the overflow is kind of going to, because it doesn't have, they got a concrete box, but I never found a pipe, so we're probably going to have to come back and add a overflow pipe and everything else. But I need to keep this section of the dam lower, and then that way if it does for some reason, which I guess it could eventually, but I don't see it filling up anytime too soon, it can kind of run over the top of here and run on down. So I do need to kind of get this dressed up and fine-tuned. It's shaping up a whole lot nicer now than just having all those dirt piles put around there. So it's gonna be a pretty good sized pond when it's all said and done. But I get back Monday, I'll probably start knocking all this down. This whole area right here will get knocked down and dressed up, and then I got a couple piles in that corner, and we'll do that other bank. So I could get pretty close Monday evening. Probably gonna be sometime Tuesday, I bet. So by the time I move that dirt pile, and like I said, I may want to top dress some more of this just to cover up some of the clay and junk down there. But it is, I can finally kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel. So it's getting a little depressing for just loading the Hydrema up. I was getting like 70 to 80 loads a day with it, but I got old in a hurry. But it's going to turn out pretty good, and we'll just catch you guys on Monday.